All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful tools in data analysis. It's a method that helps businesses get a peek into the future and understand what really makes them tick. We're talking about regression analysis.
Think about it. Every single day, leaders are wrestling with questions just like these. You see a result. Maybe your sales suddenly shoot up, which is great, right? But why? Was it that new ad campaign? Did a price change do it? Or, shoot, maybe it was just the time of year. It's a really complex puzzle. And, yeah, that's really the big challenge everywhere, isn't it? Trying to separate the important stuff from all the random noise. The whole goal is to understand these connections so we can make smarter moves instead of just, guessing.
So, what if I told you there's a statistical method that's built for exactly this? A way to actually get a handle on all those moving parts and even forecast what's coming next? Well, guess what? There is. Okay, let's dive right in. At its heart, regression analysis is basically a tool for measuring the relationship between different factors. It helps us figure out which things have a real impact on an outcome we care about and which ones are just, statistical noise. That random, unpredictable stuff in the data that you can't really explain.
So to really get how this works, you've got to meet the two main characters in any regression story, the variables. They have totally different jobs, but they're completely interconnected.
First up, you've got the dependent variable. This is the main event. It's the big outcome you're focused on, the thing you want to predict. This could be anything from your quarterly sales to your customer satisfaction scores. It's the what you're trying to explain.
And then you have your independent variables. These are all the factors you think might be influencing that outcome. These are your suspects, right? The potential causes. We're talking about things like how much you spent on ads, the price of your product, or even what the economy's doing.
So here's the crucial point. Regression analysis looks at what happens to your dependent variable when the independent ones change. It's all about connecting the dots between those potential causes and the final effect.
Okay, now this is where it gets really cool. Regression doesn't just spit out a bunch of abstract numbers. It actually lets you see the relationship. It turns your data into a visual story.
It all kicks off with a simple scatter plot. Just picture a graph where every single dot is a piece of your data. For instance, maybe the horizontal axis is how much you spent on ads one day, and the vertical axis is the sales you made that same day. You plot all your data, and pretty soon a pattern starts to show up.
And that's when the analysis kicks in. The software calculates this regression line. It's the single straight line that best cuts through all those data points to show the overall trend. It's basically the simplest, clearest picture of the relationship between your variables.
And while a straight line is pretty common, it's definitely not the only game in town. There are actually lots of types of regression for different kinds of problems. You've got simple linear regression, which is the basic one-on-one. Then you can level up to multiple regression, where you're juggling several factors at once. And then there's something like logistic regression, which is a different beast altogether. You use that when you want to predict an outcome that's either yes or no.
Now, regression is an incredibly powerful tool, but, and this is a big but, it's not a magic wand. Before you use it to make any big decisions, there are a few critical rules of the road you absolutely have to know.
Look, for the results to be trustworthy, your data has to meet certain conditions. For example, a simple linear regression assumes the relationship is, well, a line. It also assumes you don't have these huge, crazy data points, outliers, that are throwing everything off. If you ignore these assumptions, you can end up with conclusions that are just plain wrong.
And this brings us to maybe the single most important warning in all of statistics. Correlation does not equal causation. I'll say it again. Just because two things move together doesn't mean one is causing the other. The classic example is ice cream sales and shark attacks. They both go up in the summer. But eating ice cream doesn't cause shark attacks, right? There's a hidden factor, the hot weather, that's driving both.
So you have to remember, regression is fantastic at spotting strong relationships and making predictions, but it can't, by itself, prove that your ad spend caused your sales to go up. Think of it as a huge clue, a giant flashing arrow pointing you where to investigate next. Okay, so with those warnings in mind, how does this powerful tool actually help us in the real world? Well, when you use it the right way, the payoff is enormous.
It really shifts your whole decision-making process from being based on gut feelings to being based on data. It lets you make more accurate forecasts, spot where things are going wrong, and build your strategies on solid evidence, not just intuition.
Take forecasting. A business can use regression to predict future orders by plugging in things like economic trends or their marketing plans. Not only does this make them way more accurate, as you can see, but the model even gives you a score. It's called an R-squared, and it tells you exactly how much of the outcome your factors can explain. A higher score means a model you can trust.
Or think about this. A company could use multiple regression to get a better handle on its own stock price. Instead of just looking at revenue, they can see how marketing spend, their growth, and even what people are saying online all combine to influence that crucial number. It gives them a much richer understanding of what actually drives their value.
Ultimately, regression analysis is like a special lens. It's a way of looking at your data to find the hidden patterns and relationships that are driving everything. It gives you the power to ask smarter questions and find answers that can truly move the needle. The only question left is, what are you going to discover?